bottles of Gatorade. Gotta say, a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the table fade. Playing made, system water bottles of Gatorade. Gotta say, a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about the come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a pocket list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened, her nosy friend and got in a mix. She know I'm a hitter too. If she tell him, I'm plead the fifth.
Playing made, system water bottles of Gatorade. Gotta say, a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the table fade. Playing made, system water bottles of Gatorade.
The Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. Check, we Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairing, gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. When I open like Betty Wops and find to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry but spill milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, Black Sun, we ain't nothing like the mother guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairing on us, flaring on us.
DQ, baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids. D-Face. Yeah. Bubba C. Yeah. Ric Flairing on them. Ric Flairing on them.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Another episode of Money, Run, and BDSM. This is Brass TMI, owner at TMI. Feeling good. It's a nasty day outside. I'm feeling every single football injury I ever had in my life right now. Been a crazy week. Crazy week. Welcome to the chat. This is definitely going to be it's gonna be a quick ride. Then we're gonna go right into the DQ show at 2:30. But I got Logic in the building. Logic, what's going on, G?
Down some of these clips, some of these moments that happened in that first interview show. You know, maybe even add some terminologies on top of it, make it a little bit easier to understand, even or put some more depth into the commentary. And we're gonna have some fun, man. We're gonna laugh a little bit, you know, crack a couple jokes, and get out of here.
Yep. Real quick, just gonna get the work in. The whole world right now. I mean, we done planned about 6, 7 shows, but the weather been a little crazy. I know. Shout out to my man Hits. He's taking care of business. Shout out to my man DQ. He's taking care of business. It's just real fun. But these last couple of days been wild. You know, family ties, family matters. I've been in a bit of a euphoria and having a very nice time, man. Very, 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 very nice time. But you know, these other people, they're not like us. So I just want to get right into it. With your show last week, I just want to tell you, I've been getting nothing but responses, and I've been getting good responses and strange responses. I expected the strange responses, um, but the good responses what shocked me. You know, finding out that there was a couple people that that they've been in business. They've had a few um, different kinds of businesses similar to um, what it is that you do. I found out a few of my friends actually work in the sex industry, which is a shock to me. I didn't know that. Omar, what up, G? Make sure Omar's Omar. And by the way, Omar, bro, I know you at work, man. Work on this Sunday. Go get that bread. Omar, hey, whatever modding you do, we appreciate it. But hey, if you want to take a break and enjoy, bro, I appreciate it. I know naturally you just a gangster mod. Omar Reed is easily the best mod I've ever seen on any show. Any show. Not I ain't talking about unconscious community. I'm talking about all shows. So I always give him his love. I pay attention. He actually kind of showed me indirectly how to mod. Because when I first started modding on pseudo killers, I didn't know what I was doing. And I get some direction from Miss Tiff, peace to Miss Tiff. But watching Omar and how he would place the stuff and talk to different people, that helped a lot. So if you want to mod, that's fine. But if you want to just enjoy, that's fine, bro. You're one of my favorite people. Um, Peace to you, Hits out and about. I know me and Hits kind of live in the same area. For some reason, it's nasty, bro. It's May and it's 50 something degrees on the East Coast, which is wild. And I got a bunch of traveling I'm about to do, but I'm gonna be live from everywhere I travel. I'm going to Birmingham, Alabama next week. And no, not next week, damn. Friday. I'm going to Birmingham, no, Thursday night. I'm going to Birmingham, Alabama for a few days. And then I'm gonna be back in the town for like maybe 16 hours, and then catching a red eye to LAX on the 14th or 15th. I don't know. I'm not going on my phone. Yes, sir. It's always love, bro. Always love. So back to your show. I was surprised because a couple people after they saw the show, I knew it would be polarizing. That's how I knew it would be good content, and it's gonna be good content going forward. But I was surprised. I found out a couple of my friends own novelty shops. I found out like a couple of people that I know are in BDSM. They just never, spoke on it. They never said anything. So, I think it's a good conversation. It's only going to build, and I'm here for it. And I was telling you, even after that show on Monday, I wanted to do a recap. I know you're doing a show this week, but it'll be on the schedule. So I'm really fired up, but I like to get the sources from. I mean, you would have to be the expert in this case. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's certainly the one with the expertise.
Yeah, you're not an expert. Oh my god, bro! You know that's always gonna be the fun stuff. You know what I'm saying? You ever watch a somebody stream or their YouTube broadcast and they start laughing, even though don't nobody really know what they're talking about.
Right,
So
just
now
a
it's kind of
couple
fun
of
to kind
cool
of
little
have that.
inside joints. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly, exactly. So I want to go right into the first clip. So I'm gonna share my I'm going to 1 second. I'm not gonna show my screen just yet. I'm gonna go right into it because we got DQ coming on right after this at 2:30. And by the way, head to DQ. You know y'all always welcome, but we're just gonna get this recap done. Let me pull your video up. So what's the first timestamp you want me to go to?
First time stamp 10 minutes 42 seconds. I put it in the thing.
No.
10 minutes,
Just for the people
10
live.
minutes 42 seconds. 13 minutes or 10 minutes and 42
No,
seconds.
first one. Let's just do the first one. Just do the first.
Okay, yeah, and it stops at 25.
Okay, and peace to you. Her name is Mira, correct?
Mari.
Say it again.
Mari. Her name is
Mari, right? Mari.
Her nickname is Mari.
Right, and peace to you, Mari, wherever you are, bro. I mean, sis, I appreciate it. You were amazing on the show. You were amazing on the show. We really appreciated it. And by the way, the link is in the chat. Y'all can come up, pay attention, and I'll get to you, ask any questions that you want. We encourage audience participation, but like I said, we up here for about an hour, and then we're gonna go right into, oh man, these last couple of days. Hopefully you can stay for that. Logic. Hopefully you can stay for that. But I'm gonna get this out. I figured everybody be watching the basketball games, but it's only the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Magic, so that's literally a who cares.
Unfortunately.
All right, so I'm gonna start it. I'm gonna play about maybe like what is this timestamp? 10:42 to what?
10:42 to 13:25.
Okay, so I'll just play the whole thing. All right, and there we go. Mute your mics so they can hear it better.
Bondage, discipline, submission, bondage, discipline, dominant, submission, sadist, masochism. That's the entire acronym of BDSM. Sometimes I forget sadist, masochism because
you got to scoot over a little bit. Scoot over a little bit to the left. You're outside the camera.
You her.
You.
Yeah, so I feel like, say when you talk about sadism and masochism, you're almost talking about personality traits, not necessarily BDSM. It's almost like the two extremes of just personality traits. And maybe BDSM may provide a healthy space for people who indulge in sadism and masochism to maybe find a safe place to do it in. So those are important letters, but I think it's a whole lot more about the dynamic and the power exchange between dominance and submission. And it's a place where you are instantly reminded that how much you need to respect both of these roles, right? And how much care needs to be in both of these roles. In the way I would describe it as a person who was introduced to BDSM as a dominant, when you think about the dynamic as a power exchange, it comes from both people. Exchange comes from both people, even if you are dominant and have a dominant personality, and even if dominance comes natural to you, you still need someone to be willing to submit to you and are respectful to your role in the BDSM environment. It's very important to be very respectful and very cognizant of the role of the person submitting to you. And so it's almost like it kind of sort of equals the playing field, because it literally gives the person who is in the role of the submission the actual power to say, to pull back and actually give them the consent to say, no, this is too far. Actually, we can set limits to how you want to be dominated, or what form of submission that you're actually comfortable with.
In safe words.
In safe words, and things like safety and consent are always at the forefront and paramount. You look at the 1 and 2 when you're talking about safety and consent. So.
And what about you? What up, G? So you pulled up, peace to you, Cuban. You pulled out that time clip. We asked you to pull some time clips out. Why did you pull out that specific time clip? And peace to you, Cuban. We just doing this show. really quickly so Logic can recap his content, get that on the board, clip that up, and then we're gonna go right into these last couple of days because these battles the last couple of days been crazy. I don't know if you at work, Cuban, but if you want to, I respect your scholarship on hip hop and the history of hip hop. So for the next show or this show, whatever, I'd love for you to jump on. So Logic,
Yeah, I can't
explain to
wait to
me why
give
you
y'all
did
my
that.
spiel about these damn battles,
Yeah, I know that's gonna be
we
exciting. That's gonna be exciting.
I
So
can't
go
I
ahead.
can't wait to get out.
Why did you drop
So
that clip?
so I dropped that clip because the whole idea that I want to be able to, the very first way I would want to introduce somebody to BDSM is take all the raunchiness out of it. Well, I don't want to take all the raunchiness out of it because that's part of the fun, but take as much of the raunchiness out of it to make it to help somebody understand that it's not about the raunchiness and it's really more about control and respect and discipline and having a partner that is compatible with what your style is, right? Styles definitely make the relationship work. So you could be a full sadist, right? A sadist is actually a person who basically gets off on the pain of other people, and this could be emotional pain, this could be physical pain. So there are people who are aroused by that kind of thing, and there are masochists. Most masochists are on different levels because I would say if you're either one of the two extremes, 100%, you probably got some issues. You know what I'm saying? Whereas I think that the safe way to say it is that we all have traits of sadism and masochism, just at different levels. So I would say somebody who there is a masochist. There are people who get off or who really enjoy having pain afflicted on them, and that emotional and that's that's physical. I think we have a common word for a sadist in the black community. We call them toxic, like a person who just gets off on being toxic in their relationship. They have a lot
Mm.
of sadist qualities. You know what I'm saying? And then you can have a masochist, somebody who enjoys the trauma or the experience of having this person be toxic towards them. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't run away from that. Some people run towards it. So, but so you do have both extremes actually in real life. They play out. We might label them different, but in BDSM you would characterize that person as a sadist and the other person as a masochist. So they're two different extremes for sure.
So now in regards to the pain aspect of it. So I know some people say like that old Rob Bass song Joy and Pain. Then they kind of run right along the same lines of it. Would you say that that's kind of what goes on in regards to it, or
That's
no?
that joy and
Yeah, yeah,
pain.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
I think he was trying to capture more of the discomfort that you kind of realize once you like realize like, man, this is the woman that I want to spend the rest of my life with. I think would you agree that there's a almost a discomfort to that at sometimes?
What you mean by that?
So what I mean by a discomfort of like so I would describe this particular discomfort as like when you embrace the responsibility of having this realization, like I actually don't want to mess this up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whereas there's other situations where you're not so worried about it. You know what I'm saying? If it works out, it works out, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. Right? So I'm not going to say that's pain, but I would say I think that's more of what he's speaking to, because there's ups and downs in a relationship. So if you really want this one to work, you kind of have to like deal with some stuff maybe you don't want to, and certainly you wouldn't want to for somebody who you think is less important. So when I'm talking about BDSM pain, I'm talking about um wow, I'm trying to keep it PG-13 here, Brass. So I'm talking
Yeah, do your
about
best.
candle wax. I'm talking about maybe even some sensation restrictions, right? It might be as crazy as you're not allowed to enjoy pleasure until you have my permission. I mean I think that's an entirely different type of pain that we're talking about here. That's not just general relationship pain. That is a pain that some people are really really into. Some people are really really into inflicting that. Me and Marcus started a conversation about what is edging. I guess we'll continue that one day, but there's such a thing called stimulation restriction, and I would consider it edging because it's like if I bring you to the point of climaxing, let's try to use the word that way, and
Uh-huh.
then I pull back at the last minute and tell you no, you can't until I'm ready for you, and that might go on for days.
Mm.
I mean, not necessarily my jam, but I've done it before. You get what I'm saying? So like
No, no,
that,
no. I get it.
right. So you talk about that. You could be talking about anything from actual pain, candle wax. You could be talking about. I mean, you could be talking about striking each other. Like you could be talking about how hard is too hard. Like you know what I'm saying? Like they were talking about physical pain at this point. We're not talking about and then there's just straight up emotional pain. Like she said herself is the only reason I'm gonna say this. She said herself that she's into humiliation play, right?
Hmm.
So that could be a form of emotional pain, right? So the person that she dominates, she would want them to do some humiliating things in front of her. She likes it.
I know she was saying that she's a sub now, which means submissive, but she's also a submissive that's about to be going into dominance. And I know she was saying like a lawyer and all of that. And once again, I remember the popular show Billions, and with that show, I'm starting to notice as I've been doing my research, which is really, by the way, messing up my recommended searches online. Now I'm getting offers and clicks to do this, and I've been looking at some of this stuff on Instagram and our TikToks and our Facebooks, and even on there, I've been seeing like now all of a sudden a lot of I'm getting a lot of recommends from these things. So I think that's kind of dope. But it's like Omar. Yeah, Omar, we went right into it, bro. Right into it. So I shared my screen. It says understanding pain as pleasure, right? In BDSM. In the world of BDSM, the idea of finding pleasure in pain can be fascinatingly explained by psychological theories, like the incentive sensitization theory. This model suggests that repeated exposure to stimulating experiences such as pain can actually activate neural pathways related to pleasure. In BDSM practices, I just lost my what's the names. In BDSM practices, individuals might feel a surge of endorphins and adrenaline when engaging in pain play. Moreover, the power dynamics and submission aspects in BDSM align with attachment theory, highlighting how trust and vulnerability can deepen intimacy and arousal. So, through conditioning and attachment mechanisms, pain can indeed trigger pleasure within the realm of BDSM. So, it says there was an interesting study published in the Archives of Sexual Behavior. It's all about the psychological well being of BDSM practitioners, and it reveals some pretty cool insights. A lot of people assume that engaging in activities involving pain would have negative effects on someone's well being, but this study actually found the opposite to be true. BDSM practitioners reported higher levels of well being and lower levels of psychological distress compared to the general population. And finally, there are a couple of reasons why this might be the case. One is that BDSM relationships really emphasize communication, trust, and consent. And I think that's dope because when you and Mari were talking, the underlying themes and overlying themes were those three words: communication, trust, and consent. So this creates a sense of security and understanding between the people involved. Boundaries are clearly negotiated and respected, which creates a consensual environment that adds to the overall well-being of everyone involved. Another reason is that exploring pain within the boundaries of consent can actually help people connect with their bodies and emotions in a unique way. This can lead to a heightened sense of self-awareness and acceptance. How does that sound to you? Break that down for me before we go into your next clip.
I mean, we didn't. I am adding some more context to it, but man, that show was really freaking good. We
Hmm.
touched on we touched on all this stuff at certain parts of it. Didn't necessarily get as much detail to some of the questions that at least that I would have wanted to be able to add to it. But that's what this show is for, to be able to add a little bit more context. And it sounds like we're both, me and that passage, we're basically saying the same thing. It's it's a connection that can absolutely activate the proper emotions, the proper feelings, right? Even though it might be expressed in some unusual way. It might, I mean, I don't even want to say it, but like, so like me, like, a person inflicting pain upon somebody else, depending on the dynamic of those two people, and especially the communication that they've had. Hey, this is okay. Hey, I like this, I like that, and oh shoot, I wouldn't mind doing this or that, and we would do it as a form of devotion, where, like, this is the whole purpose behind it. And so once you've got all of that squared away, now the proper emotions and the proper feelings are happening with this pain, right? Like it does sound interesting, but it's true. It's true.
Okay. I'm gonna get into this next clip. That way I'll give you some time at the end to talk. Now, this will be another about 2 or 3 minutes. Y'all check this out.
That would lead me into what are some of the major misconceptions that people have, like just one or two major misconceptions, even
But it's
you,
always
even something you may have, had a misconception about and then found out otherwise.
that it's extremist and it's always rough or violent.
Mm-hmm.
BDSM is not always rough or violent. It can be soft, it can be sensual, it can be what you want it to be. You just have to like talk about your boundaries and what your likes and dislikes. So that's what I would say. I think when they think of BDSM, they just think of the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when you say extreme, it's not like what you see about Lash. It's not always the stuff you see in pop culture about it.
Absolutely not. Right. Let me
Right.
try to add some little details to it. Right. As a matter of fact, when you really get specific about BDSM, it's really not even all sexual. And I think most people would be surprised by an answer like that. But there are a lot of people who engage in BDSM relationships and they have nothing to do with sex. Just for, I guess, for purposes of the environment, I don't think it's really necessary to go into detail about some of those relationships. But you can absolutely be a dom and a sub and not have sex. You can absolutely be a daddy and a little dom. I mean, in a little scenario to where they're not having sex. There are many people who get together that are in real relationships and get together with their BDSM playmate and don't have sex. A lot of times, a lot of people use it for a particular release. They may be in their current situation, and they have a woman or a husband that defers to them more often than they're comfortable with, and they may seek out another personality to be able to express this other side of them with, and provides them comfort, and it doesn't have to be something sexually related. That's a huge misconception, right? Because I think a lot of times when you may hear about, some people talk about BDSM, and they will describe it as a potential buffet for fetishes. And it can be that, but it's not.
Right.
That's not the entirety, or that's not even the whole point of BDSM. It's really not. If that's all you think it is, you're absolutely missing the point of BDSM for sure, big time, like big time.
So let me get. So elaborate on that. You're on mute. Elaborate on that.
Maybe I still need to grow up a little bit, but every time I hear that buffet of fetishes, it's kind of funny to me. But
Yeah, you said it a few times. You said it. You said it a few times. That's why I was saying, like,
oh my
listen.
gosh, yo.
We're both in sales. I think everybody on the planet is technically in sales, but me and you,
Absolutely.
that's like our trade. So we know that sales is a lifestyle, not a business. So when you're in sales, you realize that a lot of times, a lot of these lingos or a lot of these practices cross societal standards. They cross all over society. You negotiate with your wife all the time. You negotiate with your girlfriend. You negotiate with your kids. Believe it or not, You negotiate with yourself. I'm not going to go to the gym today,
Absolutely.
and then
You are your biggest salesperson yourself.
exactly. So go ahead, go into
The
that clip.
psychology,
What
man,
did
the
you want to say?
psychology of sales and the psychology of just life in general, maybe more about relationships. It's so intertwined that it's scary, man. It really is. But on to what that clip was about, right? It's absolutely true. I think that in that show that you're talking about, the Billions,
Hmm.
right? It doesn't the guy like he's some really high level executive, who orders people around all day, and then he gets home and he wants to submit to somebody, right?
Yeah, he's a district attorney. I'll share my
Hmm.
screen in a minute. He's a district attorney for the state of New York, and he literally there's a guy. The show is about um, um, I just pull it up in a second, but basically he goes after like the big wigs, and he's like the top lawyer in the state of New York, the top prosecutor, and his whole day in life is threatening these powerful people, going after these powerful people. But then when he goes home, he is dominated by his wife. And his wife is
Hmm.
this, she's not meek, you know what I mean? She's very kind of, just like regular as far as her public facade. And this guy who dominates the state of New York and locks up all of these high profile criminals, preferably white collar, he goes home and he's his wife's submissive, and they get into pain play, they get into role playing, and it's just weird. Even in life, and what was beautiful is as the show goes on, they end up separating,
Mm.
and you begin to realize as they begin in separating how he even he it's not just in the bedroom, he's the dominant in life. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
He's the what's up, Montreal? Peace to you, G. Day one.
That's
The
there you go.
Montreal Devil is a day
Man,
one.
get up here, man.
Montreal's a day one. We appreciate you, but he's a
That's my
in
that's my
life.
brother
So
right there.
I know it's
Get your
tough.
behind up
The
here.
the that's just fire in uh how you see that dichotomy when you see I probably butchered that word, but the dynamic, that's what I was looking for. The
Dynamic.
dynamic of how his public facade is this facade of power, but even he needs that release. And that's what I mean. Like, you can't be powerful all the time. You know what I mean? You can't be who you are all the time. When you with your wife, you can't be still the CEO of the company. You got to be with your wife. You know what I mean? You got to be when your son is crying. You gotta kind of switch it up, and that goes back into the sales and the negotiation aspect of it. But what else did you want to say about that clip?
Um, it's I think that's the main portion of it, right? Because I'm definitely still trying to create an environment where we're not only talking about the raunchiness, right? Or I mean, I keep in my head when I keep saying it, the fun, but
Right?
but
Yeah,
but, it,
because
but
it's
it's
fun to
really
you.
it's not all about that, right? Probably the more important stuff is the structure and how you actually set it all up, right? Is probably the more important stuff to be talking about, especially when you're introducing it to people who aren't familiar with it. So that's actually a really big thing, right? So before you want to dive into the buffet of fetishes, you want to make sure all these other I's are dotted and T's across, and that's now where everything becomes we shouldn't have to be pushing boundaries at this point. We've already had these conversations. We shouldn't have to be, we don't have to be so, how would you say, mm, almost like apprehensive about our desires. Like we can go right into whatever we were supposed to be doing, because we've been talking about it for quite some time, and by now we've built up some anticipation. I can't wait to maybe see what some of the stuff is that you like. You can't wait to see what some of the stuff that I like, and we'll bring it together and have some fun. But yeah, that's all I want to say about that last part. You want the next timestamp?
Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Gotta a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the tailor fade. Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Gotta a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the tailor fade.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about the come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a pocket list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened, her nosy friend and got in a mix. She know I'm a hitter too. If she tell him, I'm plead the fifth.
Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Gotta a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the tailor fade. Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade.
Yeah. DQ. Check. Have you ever had a dream in the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In a room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Alright. Nigga, have you ever had a dream during the daytime? Had the same dream since the playground. If you made it come true, cause you stay down. Nigga, have you ever really thought about the limelight? In the room full of stars when you shine bright. I'ma make the right move when the time right. Calculated every step, so I can't stand a hater out here hating on. Niggas out here making moves. See, I hand out the type of shit they waiting on.
Yeah, I think we good. I think we had a little audio issue for a second there.
You talking about with me?
No, period. I just couldn't hear you, so I think it was just me. Peace to you, Corey. Hey, Corey, I just want to tell you, last night I had joined the panel on Chef's show, and I guess they were supposed to be talking about like Kendrick Lamar or whatever, but just so you know, I'm like J. Cole when it comes to the Black Egypt conversation. I have no bars for anything in regards to the Black Egypt conversation, so I just sat there. I wanted to say peace to you last night, but I couldn't really say nothing because I don't want to be a hypocrite and blast people for wasting their time on the conversation per se, and then go up there and call myself a expert. Not possible. But okay, so I'm gonna go into this next clip, right? 1 second.
2140.
I'm gonna play half of it. Yeah, 24. I'm gonna play about half of it. I'm not gonna play the whole time because we running short. We're only rocking for about an hour. Then we're gonna get to these last couple of days in the industry have been just crazy. And I got to have this conversation. So DQ will be coming on at about 2:30. And then hopefully if I can lock in hits, we're gonna do some technology today and get into how you can better yourself through AI. And then we're gonna let y'all enjoy y'all day. It's a rainy day on the East Coast, so it's a little crazy.
That's the experience that I would want to give anybody. You know what I'm saying? So
now, Mari, you as a submissive, what does that entail? Kind of playing off what Logic just said. What does that entail? You gotta speak up. The mic's not.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
It entails like having open communication, and trust is a big thing. And talking about your desires and your wants and your dislikes.
Right.
Also, I'd say have to learn that person so you feel safe surrendering control and like just letting go.
Mm-hmm.
A little while to like really get there, because the first dominant I really had, it was a negative experience, He kind of like took advantage of my submission, and I didn't use safe words. We didn't have communication, so it was.
Were you always a sub? You've never been in a position, because I know you're going into being a dominant
Yeah,
now.
mainly a sub.
Okay.
I'm a switch, which means I'm both submissive and dominant, but I'm mainly a sub.
So
Most of the
now,
time.
why are you going? Why per se would you say that you're going into being a submissive?
I like relinquishing control. I don't
I
like
mean, no,
making
no. I apologize. I asked the wrong question. What makes you? Why would you be going into being a dominant? I'm saying now.
I like humiliation play.
Okay.
I like. I'm actually talking to this lawyer, and I think he likes escaping from his the duties as a lawyer. I
Okay.
guess that's the way to put it. And I like it because it gives me a sense of power because I was actually sexually assaulted. It's a way for me to take my power back.
I'm sorry.
And
I'm sorry about that. Also.
thank you, thank you. It was consensual between me and the sub that I'm dominating, but it's still like something that I'm learning to do because I'm not used to being in a dominant position. But it's very fun, like so far.
Okay. Okay. Now we're going to go into the challenges and rewards of it. So for you, not you, Logic. For you, what are some of the challenges and the rewards of navigating kind of both areas, like being a sub, being a dom? What are some of the challenges that take place with that? And DQ and hits. If y'all got any questions at any point, just let me know.
For me, the challenges would be I'm a brat, which means I don't always submit. You gotta kind of force me to submit in a way sometimes because I want to see how dominant you are. Like I kind of don't like seeing this is bad, but I wouldn't say bad, but in BDSM, I don't like seeing your weak spots. So I'll try you, push your buttons
Okay.
to
Okay.
see. It's just like a little game for me. I'll say the challenges is actually just submitting off rip and just being like, yeah, okay, because it's kind of hard for me to always relinquish control, and it's just like a trust thing, honestly.
Okay.
But I'm learning to trust him more. Like, yeah, so I'm learning. He's very sweet dom. It's just different types of doms. Like you have
Say that
different
one more
sounds.
time, but say Logic's name. Do me a favor. Say that one more time.
With Logic,
Logic is a very what? Well, no, no. What'd you say? You said Logic is a
Logic.
very what?
He's a soft dom. He's a soft dom, and
And we're
I
never
like
gonna let him
that.
forget it. I just want you to know we're never gonna let. We're never gonna
Brad's
let
trying
him.
to get sound bites over here. Read it, but
Yeah, you know it's all good.
He
Yeah,
did it with a straight face too.
just
Yeah.
really a good dom. I'm getting nurtured and cared for, and I feel safe. But it took me a moment because my last dom, he's very sadistic. He's very cold and aloof, and that's not something I was looking for. So a while to adjust to Logic. Not a while, but like a little bit of time to adjust to Logic. And once I finally did, I realized, like in BDSM, I realized that you are worthy of like getting taken care of and getting like shown love and stuff like that. So it's just I don't know. Education is a big thing.
So let me ask you a question. So do people go into this for violence? Like, would you say that people?
Yes, a lot of people
I know
do.
you're presenting like the more the positive thing of it, but from what I'm hearing based on your answers and Logic's answers, that sometimes there are people that might have like a violent side, people that are trying to kind of exercise the kind of demons they have with their own sexuality or violence
Yes,
against
they
women, stuff
will.
like that. So they do stuff like
Yes,
that.
yes,
Okay.
or ulterior motive. Like the last dom I had, I was just talking to him. I feel like some people use ulterior motives for a different goal they have for themselves.
Right.
Like because everything is energy. And I feel like when you're submitting to someone, you're giving them, in a way, a part of your energy, in a sense. Like you're releasing control and stuff like that. And I feel like they can use it in a different way to think about your feelings. They just think about their own feelings. And that's not like a
And
dominant
that's not
dynamic.
what it's about. That's not what it's
Yeah,
about.
that's not what it's about. It's supposed to be
Okay.
um mutual, you know.
That's a
Hmm.
good word.
Yeah, that would be, that would be a if you were to get like really technical about it, that would be like a red flag. You
Mhm.
know, to be completely honest, it's like the ultimate compliment she can give me, right? Is that she can acknowledge that I'm actually listening to her. You know.
I wasn't gonna let the whole clip play, right? Because I thought it
Mhm.
was pretty long clip, but I think it was actually good to let that clip play. So before I give my thoughts on it, what do you? And also, I just want to give another shout out to her because, um, being on YouTube panels and stuff like that. I remember when I first got on a YouTube panel maybe a couple months ago, and it was even being grown. I mean, I've done Zoom webinars with thousands of people. I've spoken on stage at Las Vegas MGM, the Rose Bowl, introduced artists and at Summer Jam, all kind of stuff like that. But even being on YouTube, it's always, you still get those jitters when you first go. So I think she handled herself very well, um, especially in such a sensitive subject. And her not knowing how we were going to treat the subject, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right,
I
right.
think I think I applaud her and I appreciate her for her her candor. I think
Yeah,
that was
she really did do good, man. She did. She sounded better than my first time on YouTube for sure. But so like, man, your original question was actually really, really good, and we didn't go as far into it as I would want to. But that's a show in its own, right? About the rewards for both sides. About what is rewarding about participating in a BDSM relationship.
Mhm.
That's a show. That's a whole show by itself right there. But there should be a lot of encouragement, even though that there are some, I don't know, so maybe extreme preferences being expressed, and there are things like aftercare that you would want to participate in too after all of these things are done, and because you want to be reassuring the whole time that the other person is having a good experience. You want to be getting feedback from them. You don't want to just be like, oh, okay, I'm done, and now you're gone, right? See, like I know that was actually a conversation that we had, and maybe we'll talk about it at a different time. But this aftercare is actually a major part of BDSM, right? You don't want to be dismissive about it, but you're not just performing a deed and then rolling out. Like it's also not that. There's a fair amount of planning. There's a fair amount of conversations that happen before these events take place, and sometimes they can be a little. It could, from the outside in, it could be mistaken as aloof or not as caring. You know what I'm saying? It might be a little bit more. I don't know what the right word would be, but it kind of could come across as a little bit. Um, I care less about you, so I'm willing to do X, Y, Z. You know what I'm saying? It could come across that way. So you gotta make sure that you draw a definitive line so the other person doesn't begin to have these kind of thoughts creep into their mindset, because that'll throw the whole thing off. You know what I'm saying? You don't want the other person to be having to second guess certain things. And do I actually care about your well-being is one of those things that I don't want you to be having to worry about in the back of your mind. Is this person one of those red flag people that we're talking about, that is just in this to take advantage of people who are willing to submit to them? So that's a part of it too. You know what I'm saying? That's a real part of it. It's but it's a great question, right? I think she did a good job answering it, and I wanted to have make sure that I had some clips in there where she was talking, so it wasn't just all my perspective, and we can actually get the ladies' point of view too, right? And this, one of the things that she said that, she was like, she wants this. Like, this isn't something that I'm imposing on her. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to get specific about what her actual things are if she's not going to say it herself. But these are things that she wants, right? I'm not telling her what to want. You know what I'm saying? But once you've had these conversations about what your desires are, and where your comfort zones are, then see, now you've opened up a space where now it can be comfortable and respected. It's not just like, I don't know what your comfort zones are, and this is what I want to do, and I'm just going to try it, and I don't care how you feel about it. You know what I'm saying? That's a little bit different. That's not quite BDSM. So it absolutely can be a terrible place for somebody um who just is looking to take advantage of somebody and just has and only care about their own wants and needs. And that's exactly what I mean by being too far on the extreme of the spectrum, where you're only a sadist. You know what I'm saying? You don't have any compassion. You're just completely cold. And that's like a narcissist. That's not a healthy person in any, you know, um, social situation. They're only concerned about what they get out of it. And that's not BDSM. So
Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the taper fade. Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the taper fade.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about the come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder. I had a pocket list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened, her nosy friend and got in a mix. She know I'm a hitter too. She tell him a plead the fifth.
Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth and the taper fade. Playing made, system water bottles and Gatorade.
All right, we back. Um, Logic, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, good. We're gonna get into the final clip, but I wanted to share my screen because I had a couple people ask me. They didn't really know um, what show I was talking about. Once again, this is Billions on Showtime. Great show, great show. I think it's a fire show. And I think that dynamic of of the BDSM was what we represented. But I mean, what the show represented to the people that weren't really aware of BDSM. But the one thing I will say about that show is even on that show, people had complaints. So this is the Billions Reddit. It says the writers have let down the BDSM community. How unfortunate it is that the relationship between Wendy and Chuck has turned the way it has. Would look like the first ever media representation of a strong, intelligent, normal as this show allows, couple who engage in power dynamics freely and healthily within their marriage has been turned into the stereotypical BDSM practitioners or damaged people trope. And it's such a disgrace. How relieved the norm must be to finally be told that the reason Chuck is submissive is the way his father abused his mother. And of course, they can feel better that Wendy isn't really a dominant woman. She's a provider, giving her husband what she feels he needs. It's just an extension of her job, reading her client and providing the motivation that they need to be their best. Woo, for a moment, I thought she might actually like that stuff. It's just disappointing. I truly hope I truly hope this turns around, but I think that the writers have resorted to the oldest cliches of BDSM, DS, and power dynamics, and in general. They had a chance to be groundbreakers and they fell back into the trap of ignorance. And I think with me, that's why when we had this show, I wanted to protect how we presented it because I think that I want to get past what the actual tropes are. That, the person must have been beaten as a child or they were in an abusive relationship, or something like that, or the woman's just doing this because her husband is what she wants. No, she's just living in her power. So I wanted to put a actual human face. A lot of times in the shows that you'll see me do, I like to put a human face to topics that have just been destroyed in social media. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like we've become so used to hearing things like, yeah, 36 people died. And I've had people tell me like, well, yeah, that wasn't much. And that's terrible. That we've come so far that it's going to take thousands of people or hundreds of thousands of people to really strike a nerve. So I want to start putting human faces to these things, or just calling people dirty. I mean, I hate to go to the colorism thing, but it's like with black and white people, BDSM isn't really seen as a black thing. But I went and looked at the numbers, and we definitely participate in BDSM in every sense of the word. It's kind of looked at as like that's what they do. No, that's what people do. That's what humans do to express their sexuality, to live their truth. So anytime I got the opportunity to put that out, we definitely will. Before I get into this next clip, do you want to say anything?
I could understand. I could understand there being a trope about it being a place for broken people. That kind of makes sense, but I could see where somebody could have a misconception of that. But I'll be, man, probably the strongest woman I've ever dated would is somebody who's also been sexually abused, and she is super duper strong. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? If that's, I don't think that there's really a correlation necessarily between that and BDSM.
Right.
I think that might be a correlation of there might be more sick people out there than you are aware of. You know what I'm saying?
Good point.
You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that it's going to lead to a role where now you're just emotionally fragile and now you want a person who's willing to beat on you and love you. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't it's not it doesn't I don't think there's a connection there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think that's a terrible misrepresentation of what it's about, and why people actually do it. And I think probably a better reason, probably maybe a better explanation of why people do it is they realize. Well, I'm gonna just say my personal experience, right? I realize that I have some preferences that might seem extreme,
Uh-huh.
right? So I would want to be in an environment and with people who don't find it extreme, who basically would describe it as more like something normal that we can both figure out how we can like participate in. You know what I'm saying? Let's find a way to make that thing fun. Let's find let's a good example that's probably not too dirty, right? A girl who's considered clingy, right, can be she can seem weak or feeble out, without this, right? And like in just normal circumstances. Whereas you can be in BDSM and that clinginess be a plus. You know what I'm saying? That could be something that somebody is actually actively seeking, and it doesn't have anything to do with how strong or weak that they are. That might be an actual preference of theirs. So whereas normal society might consider it a sign of weakness, BDSM will embrace it and find a way to make it fun and actually protect it. You know what I'm saying? And find a way to make it something decent that we both can enjoy. And you can be your clingy self. So that's a clean example.
Okay, I'm gonna get into this last clip, and then you could take us home, so we can get right into the next show. Once again, thank you, Logic. Thank you, Maury, for giving us this experience. We don't have many more, but it was the first time, so I appreciate your honesty. So we're gonna get into this last clip, and then you'll take us home, and then we'll move from there. Let's go. At the same time, right? How do you ensure the safety? I know it's funny. The joke is pineapples. Just say pineapples
Yes,
or whatever, this, that, and the
yes,
other, right?
yeah,
But like,
yeah.
how do you ensure safety? I know there's safe words, but what else do you do to ensure the safety of your partner when you're involved in this?
I would say,
Can't really hear you.
outside of safe words, I would say just like discussing your fetishes or desires is the main thing. Really, is making sure you're on the same page because in BDSM they have scenes.
And limits too.
Oh yeah, and limits. moments. They have scenes where we play out what we want to do and just like planning that out. And I'd say safe words is like a big thing, honestly. Safe words in planning what you want to do. Because in BDSM, we actually have like playtime and then you plan out a scene. It's basically like role playing in a sense. And that's what I'll say. But safe words is a big thing. And just talking about your romance, like you said.
Logic.
What's the question again? Let me make sure I'm answering the right.
Now, so you being a dominant, right? How do you ensure the safety in the interaction you have with your sub? How do you ensure that you have that it ends with a safe interaction?
Communication is paramount, right? It's definitely a place where you want to bring even the most uh, at times the most vulgar of your desires to the forefront, and you want to be able to express them. And that doesn't mean necessarily you express them early, but you absolutely express them. You the mesh of who you decide to deal with, play with, any of those things is paramount. A healthy respect for the other person's boundaries is really what it's all. If you're not willing to be patient with the other person's boundaries and their needs, you 9 times out of 10 you're not practicing BDSM. I can think of maybe some extreme examples here and there, but even those extreme examples revolve around consent. Like even those like I'll give you one that I think is a little edgy, but it should keep us on YouTube. There's something called CNC play. There's something called consent non-consent.
Something called kink shame too.
There's something called kink shame too, right? Whereas if my kink can be so extreme that you try to attempt to make me feel like I'm less than human because this is the thing that I'm into, So there's all these different things that all revolve around respect and communication, right? And if you keep that at the forefront, then moving forward shouldn't be an issue.
Right. It can be really hot, it can be kinky, it can be sexy, but you gotta make sure you're on the same page.
Definitely gotta make sure you're on the same page.
Because, like, for me, I don't like being degraded, but I was actually experienced that with the hard dog, which I didn't like. It's like you really have to be on the same page. As people can take advantage of it, like you said, with the bad habits. It's just like putting it on you as a stress relief, but I'm not your stress relief.
Right. So that's a great example of somebody just bringing their bad habits in attempting to call it BDSM, when really this is just a person who is.
They just want to live out their little.
They're just a sexual. They're just trying to work out their anger. Yeah, they're looking for submission to take advantage of, and that's completely what it's not about.
Okay, so we got.
I just got a question. Even though there's a lot of communication,
there was definitely a certain sense of satisfaction of cutting NBNY hits off in mid sentence, so we ain't gotta listen to no more of it. So take us home. Shout out to you. Take us home. Describe that once again. Go ahead. Take about 2-3 minutes and describe that.
I'm gonna make it quick because I don't want to say nothing that's gonna give away some of my future show ideas. But like, man, it's like there's a big difference, right? It's actually very So like if you were to be in like a vanilla relationship and you're trying to just court a woman, you could be overly concerned about how soon will you guys become intimate, almost as if this intimacy is a form of commitment either from the woman or to your ego, to where now you can finally feel like you've gotten something out of it. Whereas in BDSM, it's probably makes a lot more sense to take more time, spend more time talking about another person's wants and desires, and spending more time around them outside the bedroom before you guys actually decide to be intimate. And that is a part of the process that, you know, BDSM calls vetting, right? You want to make sure that you're actually with somebody who is going to be able to be attentive enough to your needs, and it's not just trying to rush into having sex with somebody because they know that this is a breeding ground for people with maybe some how would you say, some hypersexual tendencies. So it's not something that you would want to share with everybody that you run across, and you absolutely want to make sure that you're not, at least, you know, more so from a woman's standpoint, that you're not subjecting yourself to someone who may be looking to take advantage of your tendencies or just your openness to sexual ideas. So that's probably in a nutshell a good way to make a difference between what a good dom should be doing, and you know, and probably what a vanilla person dating is probably looking for. They're probably looking to rush into intimacy. They don't really care about. Oh, I can speak from experience, right? You know, I there was absolutely a time where I was more concerned about rushing into intimacy, and I felt like that was some validation to, okay, now all this time that we've spent together has now amounted to something. You know, it's like in sales, like it's like the form of commitment from the person that you're actually looking for, right? And that's really not true, first off. But you know, you might get a good campfire story out of it, but that's not the purpose of what it is that I'm kind of like trying to do. You know, I'm certainly not looking. You know, I don't do it to be able to share with people, but I absolutely am doing it to be able to like to you know, kind of provide myself and maybe somebody else a unique experience that we probably can only get through doing it in this BDSM way. And there's a structure there that's already been put in place. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it's older than both of us put together. And you know, so if that's what you're going to try to practice, there's already guidelines out there that this is what makes it BDSM. This is, you know, just because you tied somebody up doesn't mean, you know, you're practicing BDSM. It's actually a lot deeper than that. We'll get into it in later shows. That's all I need to say for right now. We good.
I appreciate the opportunity once again to discuss this content with you. I could see us doing a lot of shows. Once again, I mean, this is gonna lampoon into many different mediums of content over the next couple of months. And you know what's gonna be cool is when people that will be more comfortable. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I don't care if they're comfortable. When people will be more open to having uncomfortable conversations, you know what I mean, and having things, taking stigmas and tropes, and getting them out of here. You know, I see a lot of times in these other conversations, people talking about all these different racial tropes and racial stigmas, but they're sexual tropes and sexual
we warming up.
Also. Right. We're not even, the car ain't even started. So once again, this is us coming through. Like I said, we're coming right back at you. So it's 2:24 Eastern on to 2:30 Eastern. We're gonna push the button again and go right into this battle that seems to be just getting crazy. I'm gonna do a timeline. This is crazy. So Logic, you gonna jump on first, or like we'll jump in first.
I'm gonna get my rant in.
Yeah, get your rant in. We'll have time. Plus, play a little bit of the music for people that haven't caught up, and give everybody a timeline. So I appreciate everybody. Peace to you, Omar, Cuban, Cosmic Corey, Hicks, all the people that tuned in, and we out.
Playing main, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade. Playing main, system water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot of people want me to fade away. Dedicated, keep my game sharp as a razor blade. Day to day, with my gold teeth in the paper fade.
As I'm rolling this blunt up, I sit and think about bout to come up. Hit your chick with that lumber, she somewhere deep in the slumber. I ain't Stevie, no wonder, I had a foggy list. When you pimp, it's a hit or miss. Vernacular snapping, she breaking bridges to get a kiss. Look what done happened, her nosy friend and got in the mix. She know I'm a hitter too, if she tell him I plead the fifth.
Player made, sister water bottles and Gatorade. Got a lot